Hi, Eric. Well, you know what? It's not good for my mental health to take a 1 week vacation from you. Can I just say that? I mean, between your latest piece this morning and, the CNN special on the COVID doctors, I mean, once again, Eric, the question is not, does Trump deserve credit? Does Trump deserve prison? And how soon? Right? I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, so there was a paper, academic paper released last week by the Brookings Institute, and it estimated, if we had done the common sense thing, if we had a mask mandate, if we had socially distanced, if we had coherent leadership, we would have saved 400,000 lives. And that, the pandemic in the U.S. will probably top out at about 670,000 deaths, and we could have kept it under 300,000 deaths. And that report I found one news story, and that was a Reuters piece. And the press just is not interested in accurately depicting Trump as this stone cold COVID killer. I mean, he killed hundreds and thousands of Americans. We used to say indirectly. I think it's directly at this point. I think what Fox News has done. Instead, we saw this bizarre media push in February and March that Biden's got to credit Trump because he did such an amazing job getting this vaccine ready, and he just handed over this turnkey operation, and all Biden had to do was take the victory lap. I mean, it's amazing, and now we have the statistics and the real facts about what Trump did. But I think they're anxious for him to come back on the national stage, and they want to keep portraying him as kind of an eccentric mainstream political player, not someone who filled up graveyards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you watched the same special I did, and the headline, Dr. Deborah Birx believed the U.S. could have avoided hundreds of thousands of coronavirus deaths. You're like, doesn't everybody? It's, but I mean, again, the media tries to rehabilitate these people's images rather than saying, I'm sorry, you are complicit in all these deaths. I mean, you just
that CNN special last night. Look, I'm glad they did it, but and they sat down with all these Trump people and tried to put them on the record, but they should have just eviscerated. I mean, these people should have left those interviews in tears. If it was a legitimate interview, what those people did to this country. Burke's now saying, "Oh, well, a couple hundred. Where was she? What was she doing for 10 months last year? Oh, I got a mean phone call from Trump after I went on CNN and told the truth. Okay, well, what'd you do the next day and the next 6 months? Did you quit? Did you tell everyone there's a madman in the White House? No, you just played along. So that CNN special could have been so much harder and so much more devastating, and really could have put in stark contrast. Look, it's manslaughter, it's genocide, call it what you want, but we need to talk about what Trump did during the pandemic.
I always say, I think the key moment, Eric, is that shove a UV light up your ass, drink bleach press conference where he's looking at her and asking her, and I'm just saying there is a way to diplomatically say, excuse me, Mr. President, you're misunderstanding the science. Let me just, blah, blah, blah. However, just sit there. How many people died because of that? How many people ingested bleach and UV light and God knows what? I mean, it's, first do no harm it's the oath literally a doctor takes, right?
We'll never look, and it wasn't just the pandemic. We will never know why so many grown men and women inside the Beltway laid down for that guy, whether they were in the military, whether they're in the DOJ, whether they're trying to run a pandemic, and he was the least popular president in half a century. And these people just forfeited their reputations. Just to cling to a title, to cling to access. We'll never understand it. And it damaged the country, and then it started to kill the country when we got to the pandemic. But my point is, my God, the press for the last few weeks saying Biden has to credit this criminal for the vaccine. Oh boy.
Yeah.
No.
And by the way, thank God for you. You on TV yesterday. I was like, yes, Eric, just your pieces, because why the media, I just don't understand why they have to, everything they frame is Republican talking points, no matter what the issue, right? You talked about meet the press. Democrats say this, Republicans say this, nothing gets done. You're like, oh, dear Lord, nothing gets done because the Republicans robotically block every conceivable common sense gun reform and always have. I mean, there is this reflex you have to frame every issue as this side's then this side and both sides. And it's just insanity, right? When it is explicit.
It is, and that's why this unfortunate quote gun debate, even though gun rampages are now back in full with the reopening in American life, but we also we saw at the press conference, 7 or 9 questions about the border, which is what Republicans are screaming about.
The border crisis, right? Yes,
the crisis.
Yeah.
And not one question about COVID, which Republicans don't care about anymore because Biden's hitting it out of the park. So it's really, I've said it 100 times, every news cycle begins with what are Republicans angry about? And this border situation is the perfect example. And you're just going to evaporate a pandemic, which has dominated every hour of American life for 13 months.
And because he's doing such a good job, not one question. And as you said, Lindsey Graham says, why are there 18 senators here? Because the biggest issue facing the country in many ways right now, right? And you said the May 19 border surge under Trump was bigger, but okay. But now it's a Biden crisis, right? It's a Biden show, as Lindsey says, right? I mean, it's just...
I honestly don't know how reporters take seriously, these Republicans who suddenly can't sleep at night because immigrant children are in crowded facilities at the border. I mean, where were these people for 4 years? Yes,
Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham in a boat of any kind. Seriously, everyone's like this. Wow, this season of Lost is really bad. But I mean, these obvious photo ops, like, oh, we're down here because there's a crisis. It's just As you said, Republicans suddenly can't sleep at night knowing migrants are housed in crowded facilities. How anyone takes this GOP charade seriously is beyond me. But they fall for it every time, the media, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Those 18 senators went down and they put on their khaki shirts and some of them wore hats. I mean, the press didn't really have much chance to ask questions. Someone did bring up, the 2019 surge under Trump was just as big. Where were you guys? And Ted, they're just all pathological liars. So what's the point? Cruz says, "Oh, yes, there was a big problem in 2019, and we tried to work with Democrats, and they wouldn't work with us to fix the border." And it's just like whatever.
Oh my God.
Look, 2013, 68 senators voted to pass immigration reform, which is mind-boggling today to think any piece of legislation would get 68 votes, let alone a hot-button issue like immigration. The House Republicans wouldn't John Boehner wouldn't allow a vote for 5 years. So, they lied about everything. And now they're saying, well, we couldn't fix it in 2019 because of Democrats.
Hey,
photo op, that should be in the headline. That should be in the headline of every one of these stories. I mean, it's so clearly what it is. But, the press has always been impressed by Republican hardball, and so they're going to do theatrics, and they kind of they kind of eat it up. As I said yesterday, on TV, the press misses the circus. The press misses the Trump circus, and so they're going to gravitate to anything that even resembles it.
I mean, let's play our favorite game. If Obama had, how about Trump saying he's going to go to the border because ICE wants him to, or something? Yeah, if Obama had, oh my God, you lost in a landslide. Shut up and go away. Oh my God, I might go down there, see what's happening. I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, okay. So,
but did you see there was a great clip of Biden last?
What's that?
Oh, there was a great clip of Biden late yesterday afternoon. He was leaving Delaware. He took a few questions, and someone said, "Oh, Trump says he's going to go to the border," and Biden says, "I don't care what that other guy does." He just turns and walks away. He won't even say his name, which is great.
He's handling it perfect. Just the former guy.
He really is.
I miss him. Yeah, I know. It's great. But I mean, it's just all of these storylines. This is only a Fox News storyline that there's something wrong mentally or physically with Biden. And you said Politico piece quotes 12 Republicans about Biden's health and 0 Democrats. And then you see the press conference and you're like, oh, he's sharp as a tack. What are they talking? I mean, it's because it's only a Fox News storyline that there's something mentally wrong with him, right? Oh, sorry, Eric, can you hear me?
Yeah, I never understood, why Fox was. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I never understood why Fox had that countdown clock for the press conference. I mean,
Right.
Biden's been in public life for 50 years. He won both debates against Trump. The idea that he can't, defend his agenda or answer pretty simple questions from reporters. But then what did Fox do the day after? Well, Biden didn't call on Fox News. It's a policy. We're being blocked. We're being locked out. So they turned that into a wine festival because Ducey wasn't called on. But then again, the New York Times wasn't called on at that press conference. I mean, give me a break.
Well, I mean, Eric, you said it. It's just you pointed out he did a sit-down interview, extended sit-down interview with ABC News. He did a town hall on CNN. Just this obsession is why haven't you given a press conference? I don't know. He was busy doing what's given him a 75% approval rating. He was busy getting people vaccinated and checks in their bank accounts and handling the COVID response. I mean, this storyline was insane. And then you said Biden asked twice about if he planned to run for re-election.
Real quick, I mean,
go ahead. Sorry, the delay is.
I mean, real quick, if this were a Republican president.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have a bit of delay.
This delay is murder this morning. But go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
If we had a Republican president and they had amassed this kind of record in 100 days, with these approval ratings, with these accomplishments, I mean, we'd be seeing headlines about the new Reagan, but Biden, is flying high, and we're just not seeing it. And it was reflected in the press conference.
Yeah, and as you said, the headline of the press conference was him announcing the new goal is 200 million Americans, vaccinated in the first 100 days, because he's wildly blown through the first one that everyone thought was wildly optimistic. And I mean, it should have been, as you say, a victory lap, and instead it's like they're like, yeah, whatever. What about this border crisis? I mean, it's insane, right?
Look, good news is no news when it comes to Democrats, and this is a perfect example. And again, I think this White House doesn't leak. This White House doesn't do theatrics. This White House doesn't do insults. And I still think that the press really kind of misses what Trump created. Yes, they were the focus of some of the attacks, but in the end, I think they like to mix it up. I think they like to be in the tumult. And the Biden White House just has no interest in any of that. They're not going to play that game. It's back to the no drama Obama years, and the press is kind of like, ugh, really? We're going to do that?
I understand. I am lonely and single in COVID lockdown, and sometimes I miss my former abusive relationship. But listen, you'll get over it, press. Just move on. You have a new nice guy. Just shut up. Eric.
Exactly.
Great stuff as always. We will see you next week.
Okay.
Press Run.
Have a great week.
Eric.
All right, there we go.
PressRun.media. Subscribe,
please.
Do it. Just like Hillary Clinton does.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Soledad O'Brien and everyone awesome. Okay. Good morning, dear.
Cut!
We have a lot to celebrate this week.
You have the right to remain tripping your balls off.
It's like Illuminati, but with leather.
First day at Fight Club, you must fight!
2020 refuses to concede.
I was gonna have to return 2021 because I didn't like the 7-day trial. But I'm in now. We're in, sexy liberals.